Hey, John,
Yeah.
after work session, can you stop down and sign this?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And we're recording again?
Yep,
Okay.
thank you.
Welcome, everyone, to the Burlington City Council work session. This is Monday, December 8th, 2025, 4:30 PM. Thomas J. Smith, Council Chambers, City Hall, 400 Washington Street, Burlington, Iowa. First up on discussion items tonight is our 5-year road plan. Nick McGregor, Public Works, and Deputy City Manager.
Good evening, afternoon. So I'm up here tonight to talk about our 5-year road plan, which you'll shortly find out is more of a kind of a 10-year strategic road plan than our typical 5. But I wanted to get into more of the weeds since we're kind of changing a little bit of our strategy. So why do we do this plan? We talk about our major investments in roadways. We talk about kind of how our work and the state's work align with different grant projects. And then we try and plan long range so we can support safety, mobility, and maintenance needs. And we're trying to just be as transparent as we can on what our plan is. So recent progress. In spring of '25, we completed the Agency Street from Melrose to Curran. And we also worked on Madison/9th Street, which was a mill and overlay project. And we also, in fall of '23, re-overlaid Johansson Terrace and Division. So how do we choose some of these projects? I've highlighted this in the past, but for the sake of the conversation, I'll kind of go over it again. We look at the pavement conditions, so the PCI, or Pavement Condition Index, I'll refer to that some, and I have in the past as well. We get that information from the group out of Iowa State. They come through and they drive in a van with LiDAR, and it gets a condition rating for the roadways based on the distresses that are going on the surface. So we group all of this together. So the pavement condition, we look at grant opportunities to try and leverage local dollars with STBG is a specific one. And then we also look at safety and mobility, so areas that are near schools, areas where we have crash or incidents that are occurring, and then trying to figure out what is the best method of fix. So either reconstruction, which we've done quite a bit of reconstruction over the last decade, versus mill and overlay, or just an overlay on a concrete street. So this is the PCI scoring that I've referred to. The chart on the left shows all of the 394 lane miles of roadway in Burlington. So we have 178 of asphalt, 140 of concrete, and 76 of seal coat. I would say that there might be some seal coat roads that are actually asphalt in the category, and some that might be asphalt that are seal coat. Just when you're driving over it, asphalt and seal coat look fairly similar, so they may categorize some of them at the same.
Well, back in the day, we used to seal coat over asphalt and concrete.
Yep, that is a maintenance remedy, is a thin layer of oil with some sort of aggregate. That could be sand or limestone in a lot of cases is what we use. So the PCI curve, ideally, you have a nice bell curve. As you can tell, we have a fairly large group in that 35 to 40 category that is sticking out. So we have quite a bit of roadways that still need work, and I would say that everybody in Burlington would probably agree with that sentiment. What we have done lately is a lot of arterial and collector roads. Unfortunately, it leaves a lot of roadways untouched for several years, and those roadways continue to degrade. So one of the pieces, that's on the next slide. But this is just kind of a breakdown of the conditions. I don't want to get into too much of it. So I highlighted that in the last 5 years, we've spent a lot of investment in collectors and arterial roadways, but we haven't got into a lot of the local or residential streets. A big portion of that is us trying to leverage STBG dollars to be able to get more roadway work done. But it had been previously required to find match. Plus, if the projects grow to a sizable amount, you need to be able to tap into some of your local dollars to be able to complete the project. So I'll get into that here in a second. So this is the road plan, fiscal year '27. I know my engineers hate it when I talk in fiscal years because they are more minded in the actual construction season. So when I talk Cascade Bridge in fiscal year '27, they don't understand what that means because they go from spring to fall. So, but Cascade Bridge is a project that has been on the list for quite some time. We have it estimated around $11 million. Chad and I just got done in a conversation trying to encourage some communication on where we are with our CPF funding request through Miller Meeks's office for the $6 million. So hopefully over the next month and a half, we should have some clarity on that and hopefully can receive those dollars because it will be highly impactful for that project. You'll hear more about Cascade Bridge over the coming months. We've been in the environmental cultural process over the last several months, and it takes quite a while, between 18 and 24 months at times. So you'll hear more over the next couple months on what we can and can't say. We've been fairly limited on what we can say previously, but we have good news. So that's how I'll leave that. The following year, fiscal year '28, is Sunnyside, which is a mill and overlay project from Highway 61 to Osborne. We're tapping into the STBG funds with that project at $1.5 million, still having to use 1.7 in our local dollars. So fiscal year '29, as you may remember, we had kind of left blank because of the role of Cascade Bridge and the monetary amounts that we had been spending on some of our roadway projects. Obviously, Chad and I and Stephanie have to still meet with our financial advisor and see where we're at, but we chose in the plan to leave fiscal year '29 with no planned project. With a anticipated project picking up in fiscal year '30, with $1.5 million. We had previously been planning around $1.5 million for project work. In front of you see some work on the image, and those are local roads where we would plan to do a mill and overlay. In some cases, I think it's concrete, so we would have to do an overlay only. But you see Cottonwood, Stonewood Gardens, Verdell, and Hargland Courts. And then you will see an item here later in this meeting where we will submit an SCBG grant application for Mount Pleasant Street from Highway 61 to Curran. And so we will be trying to plan on $400,000 of local dollars to use as match for that project. I won't ruin the surprise for that conversation, so I'll save it for later in the meeting.
As long as they're good surprises.
Yeah.
Now we're
So-
nervous.
So as we kind of get past the immediate, I've told staff, directed them to plan $1.5 to $2 million worth of work. As you can see, our escalation, just because of the costs, inflationary costs on the materials that we're seeing. But I wanted to give you, I don't want to necessarily put every single road on this list in the plan when it's 5+ years out, but I want to give you ideas of the things that we're going to be able to accomplish. Things that are on our list strategically, but I don't want to give the folks that live on Parkway Drive the hope that past 5 years, we're going to be able to get that project done. Want to get it done, but I don't want to necessarily plan too far out in case things change. So for fiscal year '23, we look like we're planning 1.75. We will do 1.4 million in asphalt work, Deer Run Drive, Parkway, and Sunrise. And then fiscal year 2023 or 32, I can't believe I can't keep saying that. The portion of Main Street from the bridge, we have 1.5 million. We're going after a build grant. I don't quite understand the dollars, but 1.5 million of local dollars for Main Street from Harrison to Cascade Bridge, and then also tackling Greenwood Drive. Fiscal year 33 and 34, continuing with $2 million amount work project. And so when you're escalating out inflation, 9 to 10 years later, you saw what happened during COVID where we had massive inflation. So this is, we have a calculated amount that we inflate material costs and goods. So that's how we're at getting to these dollar figures. Fiscal year 33, Barrett Street and Louisa and 7th east of Mason, or Madison rather. And then 34, $2 million worth of work. Again, Glendale, Monarch, Regina, Cathmar, 5th and 6th. So as you can tell, we're tackling quite a bit of those residential roadways that we've kind of set aside over the last decade. And so we plan these projects kind of around that $1.5 to $2 million worth of work. We have inflation built in, but we have some STBG, as I kind of left that off, planning for $500,000 worth of grant match in each of those years. And so we don't necessarily have a grant project selected for that. So the way these STBG grant projects work, so you'll hear us talking about Mount Pleasant Street. We'll apply for the grant dollars today. Should we receive or get notice that we receive them, we have the ability to spend those dollars in approximately 4 fiscal years. They run off the federal fiscal year versus the state and local fiscal year. But so you're planning that much ahead. And they can only be used on arterial and collectors. So we know there's still quite a bit of work out there to do, and so we're trying to plan ahead.
I haven't seen any seal coating maintenance work. Is that included in that, or is
We traditionally leave the seal coating work out of the 5-year road plan. We're typically just talking about the spending of general obligation bond dollars. And so, as I'll talk about when we talk sewer separation, there's still quite a bit of work of roads that'll be done during that type of work too. So seal coat is a little bit separate, but still road work. Should I include it? Would you like me to include it?
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of having it included because it got taken out one time and the maintenance work wasn't getting done, and there were several years, and this was prior to you being there, that there was no seal coating done. And I would like to see the continued budget of $400,000 to $500,000 a year on seal coated streets.
Yep. Yeah, we do budget for it. I just guess I haven't put it as a part of the plan. But if that's something council would like me to do, I don't know how good I'm going to have, how articulate of maps I'm going to have for each of the years. I don't know that we have that developed, but I could just simply list the dollar figure and the programmatic work that we'll do, if that would suffice.
That works, because that changes every year.
And just to reference the PCI, something that we worked on with the strategic plan was the infrastructure piece of it, and tracking the PCI was a part of that. And so in future updates with the strategic plan, we'll talk about what kind of effect we've had on the data that we collect. Now, we collect it every 2 years, but we'll be able to show you moving forward as we kind of change a little bit of our approach from what we had been doing, which was focusing on arterials and collectors kind of only, and now we're kind of jumping into more residential. And I would think that your homeowners would appreciate that, as we haven't put in a button on every single of our arterials and collectors. We still have some that need some work done, but we'll try and take them as we bring in some of the residentials. That's it. Any questions? Concerns?
It's quick.
I bring it up every time. I would like to see a more permanent plan for bike trails or striping on Sunnyside. We've got the two schools there, and plus it's really close to where it connects up with Stars Cave, the bike trail. So I'd like to see something a little bit more concrete for that.
I would say maybe as we get into the CIP this next year, that's something that the council should approach. But as far as I don't have the ability money-wise to fit
I know.
that type of work into the Sunnyside project.
But we could at least stripe it. That doesn't cost a lot of money to. Hypothetically
I don't
compared
know.
to-
That'll depend on width.
Correct.
lane
I can't
width.
answer that without knowing. I think it gets kind of narrow in spots. And you would need to be at a minimum of 2 lanes wide, 12 foot each lane, 24, 10 foot on top of that with the bike lanes. I don't know that.
Nick, when do you usually bring the final 5-year plan back to council for approval then? Is
A
that
couple
during-
weeks ago.
Yeah,
I'm late.
okay.
Well, it will be music to our residents' ears to hear that we're finally getting into the neighborhoods. I know that we as council have been preaching patience, so we got some of these arterials, connectors wiped out. So I'm really looking forward to seeing us get in those neighborhoods and doing some good work, so that's outstanding. Any other thoughts or concerns, council? Okay, thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Board and commission reports, Tim?
We had the Economic Development Board meeting last Tuesday. We were updated on the Western Smokehouse. It continues, the expansion continues. They'll be hiring 100 additional employees. The IAAP is, that project is continuing to move forward. It's mostly engineering stuff going on right now. Sometime next year, they'll get started in some pre-construction and construction. And then on Case, even though the construction, or the manufacturing is closing down, they're gonna keep about 70 employees locally. Most of them are gonna be engineers and then folks that work out at the testing grounds. So we're not gonna lose everybody, and it's the higher paying jobs that are gonna remain local, anyway, for the time being, so. And, there's some other projects going on that they didn't talk about, so we won't talk about them. I don't know anything about them, so.
Okay. Anything else? The Steamboat Senior Center, they're moving right along. They continue to struggle a little bit financially, but somehow they managed to keep the doors open, and that committee is excited every time we have a board meeting, so I'm pretty proud of that group, and I told them I would stick around another year if the council will allow me to do that, this upcoming new council. Waterworks Board tomorrow, so I don't have anything on that. All right. Linda?
Downtown Partners had rough weather for Thursday's sidewalk. Well,
Living
What?
Windows.
there we are, living windows. Why was I thinking living sidewalks? Well, the sidewalks were not hopping as much as we had hoped. So while the crowds were thin, the smiles were wide, and everybody that attended had a great time.
All righty. I didn't really have, I had a couple of commission meetings, but nothing of note. Most of it was wrapping up for the year, so nothing really to report. Kate?
Matt is here for later in this meeting, so
Okay.
that's for BRE.
All right, sounds good. Well, appointments, Linda, do you have
Yes,
those?
I do. For Tree Advisory Board, Robert Walker's term expires the 19th of this month, and he's expressed interest in serving another term. So if council would consider reappointing him to a new 3-year term. Dale Hazel's term expires also on the 19th of this month, and he would like to serve another term. And then Flint Hills Golf Course Advisory Committee, Ben Cooper's term expires at the end of this month. He's expressed interest in serving another term. And Sherry Zeller's term expires January 1st, 2026, and she's expressed interest in serving another term. So if council wants to consider those appointments.
Okay. I would say on those boards and commissions, if you're interested in a board and commission and there's not an opening, please put your name in there so you can be next up. Moving on to our proposed regular agenda, this will be for December 15th, 2025. First will be a public hearing, and that is a consideration of an ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 50, Public Offenses, by making amendments to the definition of loitering and prohibiting panhandling in certain areas. Mr. Byrd.
So I had asked council at the last session, last cycle, to set a public hearing for this. After several conversations with city staff, members of the public, department heads, some members of council, there was a request to amend Chapter 50, Public Offenses, specifically loitering and panhandling. And I have a background in here in addition to the amended ordinance. I'll go through and read a couple of highlights or points from the council memo, and then just interject some conversation there. And if you have questions through this, just let me know. But the amendments to Chapter 50, the changes are designed to enhance pedestrian and traffic safety in specific public places while maintaining one's constitutional protections for public expression. And why that's important is when we get into specifically what we might call panhandling, from time to time, especially in the summer months, we see a lot of people at intersections, especially busy intersections like Roosevelt and Agency. It becomes a dangerous situation for some of those folks. Motorists aren't used to seeing people at intersections at different times, and then you put into play adverse weather, changing lighting conditions, et cetera. So this gives the ability for law enforcement to intervene and contact those individuals. A couple of public safety rationale or constraints. As I mentioned, unregulated loitering near public entrances or roadways can pose significant risk to both pedestrians and flow of traffic. Motorists and cyclists' safety at roadside intersections, again, not always anticipating there'd be somebody standing there or sitting there, panhandling or trying to interfere with motorists, can create those visual and spatial distractions and awareness. Emergency access concerns, especially as we consider loitering, which can create nuisances at the entrances to public facilities. Any one of our number of public facilities or building spaces, they could hinder emergency response or access to prevent that emergency response or immediate actions should they become necessary in those buildings. And then just an element of crime prevention through just the environmental design. Some of these spaces are not designed to have people loitering, panhandling, or otherwise hanging out at the entrances of public buildings or intersections where it's just not designed for that kind of persons to be there. So the amendment changes or enhances the definitions of panhandling and loitering. You can see that in your packet. And by changing this definition, especially of loitering, and I'll just read it, it means the prohibited act of remaining in one public area or right-of-way, city property, or private property of another person, including but not limited to standing around, hanging out, sitting, kneeling, sleeping, or walking about without a lawful purpose for remaining there. And again, that's really kind of the key element, without a lawful purpose for being there. So expanding this definition, creating these conditions within our code as defined here, then gives not only law enforcement, but city staff the ability to interact with these individuals that are in spaces where there could be safety or conflict elements present. We currently don't have that enforcement or contact ability. This expands that, so we do. And again, this is coming from several conversations over the last 18 months to 2 years with different members of the public, different members of staff, law enforcement, even our own safety committee has commented on this, especially in those intersections and traffic safety environments. And when you think about our safety committee, they're looking at those safety elements. Those are always at the forefront of their mind. That's really where some of this conversation started over 2 years ago, was from that element. So with that, I don't have anything else to add. I think the information is pretty self-evident, so I would ask if you have any questions or comments.
Anyone in the audience have any questions or concerns, thoughts? Council? I'll just, I will be honest, I was pushing for this, especially the last week and a half. I've been down at the depot, and we have people treating that like it's their place to live, and citizens that are riding the bus, coming in on the train, or there for various purposes, are intimidated because of the situations down there, the verbal arguments, the fights, and then just general activities. And the reason we started the homelessness task force 2 years ago was to increase that communication about the programs and systems that are out there to assist those individuals that need help. And hopefully, this will be a further encouragement for them that have assistance available, but they don't want to comply for whatever reason. Maybe encourage them to get things going. So I'm very much in favor of this, I would say.
Well, for notable consideration on this is there has been people injured, in particular those that have sat by the roadway and had not gotten out of the way, and actually had one of them had their foot run over. And if you see him around town, you see him limping, and he's limping because he had his foot run over. And it's further justification for this ordinance. And like John and the city manager, I've had a number of people that have complained about first people in the right of way trying to solicit funds or other items from people as they drive by, and then just the fear of some individuals that are hanging out in the public places, and particularly in areas where there's people coming from out of town or leaving or happen to wait, like at the train station or waiting for the bus. And there's genuine fear and concern for themselves. And quite honestly, there are a couple of people that you need to be afraid of in this community that I believe have a mental illness, and we need some way to move them along. I think this ordinance helps with that, and I'm sure that the police department is going to direct these people as best they can to places where they can get help.
Yeah.
Such as you had mentioned, John, about the long list of
Organizations.
that will help them.
Yeah, the other thing was the other night I was picking up my sister-in-law, and there was a couple, and they were traveling to California, and their elderly mom was dropping them off, and the guy grabbed my arm, and it was really humbling to think that this is the way they felt about Burlington. He grabbed my arm and said, "Would you make sure my mom gets to her car safely?" Because it was that bad. So this is high time. Our merchants have been asking for it. Our property owners have been asking for it. So I'm glad staff is bringing it forward.
One thing I would add, or maybe Kay has,
Yeah.
okay. The one thing I would add is this doesn't prohibit people from using public spaces, but it does so within guidelines, a safe environment, we want people to use our public facilities and buildings, but at appropriate times and for appropriate length of time. And then again, it gives staff and law enforcement the ability to interact and really find out what's going on.
Yep. Good. No other thoughts or concerns? All
Yep,
right.
we've needed something with some more teeth in it for a long time,
Yeah.
so this has been a long time coming.
Yep. Moving on, number 2, resolution approving a professional services agreement with Carl A. Nelson, construction management, for now on known as Canco, so I don't have to say the whole thing, for construction management services for the Fire Station Number 3 project.
Mayor, can I interrupt for just a
Yeah.
second? Back on that first public hearing?
Yeah.
Can we waive the first and second and go to final reading on? that
If
first-
you'd like to, coming out of the public hearing, it would be a similar process, but you'd hold the first hearing and then you would amend to waive second, third, and adopt.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking.
Yes.
We can ask the city clerk to set that up.
I had talked with the mayor, him and I had a conversation on that, and I think we'd like to move as
We're
quickly
ready
as
to
we
move
Okay,
on that.
all right.
Okay.
based on
Thank
the
you.
concerns.
All right, so go ahead. Chief.
Well, good
Sorry,
afternoon.
Chief.
You know, that's okay. Good afternoon, council. At the previous work session, if you do recall, I was able to provide what I call a sky level overview of where we are with the Station 3 project. I'm bringing it back up here today because I think maybe 1 or 2 slides could really help drive some of the conversation, maybe some of the questions you may have and some of the answers we can provide as a team. So for today or tonight, I'll really just hone in, we'll stick with these 2 slides right here. Here's the site overview, which provides some of the reductions by Carl A. Nelson, and then here's our in general footprint layout of the building that also provides a lot of the reductions that we've been working on. So a reminder, what led us to this presentation was several meetings with Carl A. Nelson. I invited tonight Tad Morrow, who's representing Carl A. Nelson tonight. But we had several meetings with Carl A. We got together, we really redefined the project and got it to a place where we're happy. And so tonight, we'd like to discuss some professional service agreements, one of which is the Carl A. Nelson agreement, and the next would be the Klinger and Associates agreement. So they are 2 different companies, of course. They have 2 different roles in this project, so there's 2 different agreements. Similar to what we had before with the first part of the project, where there's an architect firm and a construction management firm. So same philosophy here. We got a construction management firm and a design and architecture and an engineering firm to assist with the project. So that's where we are. The agreements themselves are in the packets. We're starting off with Carl A. Nelson. Again, those agreements, the Carl A. Nelson agreement, it's really the roadmap to get us started once we enter into a contract with them and really drive how this thing goes and looks and gets built and designed and all that. So instead of rambling on, if you have any questions, the reason I did invite Tad here tonight is so he could expertly answer some of the questions you may have.
Council, you have any questions?
Hang on a second.
Okay. I'll just say this, I'm extremely thrilled as a hometown guy to be using a couple of hometown firms. Thank you for that. And also being privy to some of the conversations, I'm excited to see this project move forward, so.
Long time
They're
coming.
looking.
So, another thing to add to what, well, maybe you're gathering some thoughts, is we have had our city attorney look at these agreements. Nothing stands out to them, his team, to us, our staff, our team. There are some things we're still discussing, but in general, these are the draft copies that we would present next week at regular session for action. So,
All right, I would just bring up, I was a little confused when I was going through this because it showed the Carl A. Nelson, but it had the, it had the Klinger's draft of their agreement. And
You're right. Actually, I hope I can answer it this way. I think I had them labeled incorrectly when I sent them up to Katie. So the agreement that's attached to the Carle is the Klingner, and the agreement that's attached to Klingner is the Carle. So they're just in reverse order. So that's my fault.
We'll straighten that up before.
We will, so yes, we will straighten that out. So if you go to, if you understand what I'm saying there.
Yep.
They're just they're in the wrong
I
order.
just wanted to make sure I wasn't seeing things.
No, that's you, good eye, good catch.
I see.
And even Katie was looking at that like, something doesn't look right. And so it was, yep.
The other thing, we don't see these a lot, from time to time, but these are the standard AIA forms, and so sometimes they just look different than what we might normally see, so.
Okay, any other thoughts or concerns, council? Do we need to discuss Klinger separately, or knocks them both out, doesn't it?
The only thing that I would personally add is Klinger's already been a part of this project. They were a part of the land surveying and some of that work. So they've been along with us for a little bit now, but looks like if we get this kicked off next week, they'll be joining the team at a bigger capacity.
Like the mayor, I'm just so excited to see that it's two local companies that
All smiles here.
you're gonna.
I don't know though.
Kickback to me.
I don't know if either of them would take me up on it, but I would offer, if you guys, Klinger or Carle, if you had anything to add, welcome you up here to.
You have to come up here. Since we'll plan on seeing you a lot over the next year, you might as well get used to it. You gotta come to the lectern and introduce yourself into the microphone.
Yeah, Tad with Carl Nelson. I've been working with Chief Toops and his staff, and then Chad on some conceptual planning that's kind of led up to this. And I think it's gone really well. I've personally been very happy with it. Just the dialogue and it's been very good discussions. Nathan and his staff they know what they want, they know what they need, so it makes my job even easier. So like you guys, we're pretty excited too. I'm personally excited. I think it's gonna be a really good project, and once we get through some of this contracting, we'll start putting the coals to it and get the show on the road. And my goal is to start construction in the summer, next summer, as early in the season as we can, but that's the goal. Which would put it done about spring the following year. So,
Works for me.
yeah. Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ted. The only other,
Klinger, what's
oh,
going
yeah,
on?
okay.
Russell Brissy with Klinger Associates, an architect and project manager with them. So we're also excited, being a local firm, having a lot of, all of our staff here in Burlington, in the Burlington, Iowa area, living here. I think it's a great project for the community. Excited all the work that's been done by Carly Nelson and Chief Toops and his staff. And I think they have a pretty good handle on what they need, as Carly said, and Carly helping them to figure out a way to get it done, on budget and for what's needed. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Fantastic, thank you. Mr. Byrd, what were you?
No, I was just going to say, we will clean up both of these agreements. I know one of them is marked draft. Chief and I pledged to have fully executed and signed agreements in the packet if everything looks good from the council standpoint for Monday.
Anything else? sir?
Budget narrative is dated October 27, 2016.
The which one?
Page 41 of the packet is October 27th, 2016,
Yeah,
narrative
well,
budget assumptions.
We'll clean that up.
Anything else, gang? Anything to add last there?
Nope, nothing else to add.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, number 4, resolution authorizing the submission of a surface transportation block grant, STBG, the aforementioned STBG, application for a Mount Pleasant Street corridor improvement project from US Highway 61 to Curran.
Do you have that image, Eric? That was you probably don't. It was in the packet. It just gives kind of an outline of the project parameters. So I kind of preluded to it in my 5-year road discussion, but in front of you is an STBG, or Surface Transportation Block Grant application that's due in early January. The grant application would be for resurfacing of Mount Pleasant Street from Curran to Highway 61 or 61 to Curran. So there is an image. This probably didn't scan very well. Pretty Pretty black and white there. I will send you an updated PDF version so you can actually see it.
It's like a tornado trail.
It does look like a tornado trail. And actually, it might be a good, zoom into Mount Pleasant Street right there by Community Field. Kind of gives you an idea of the reason why. You can see the jigsaw puzzle in front of you. We've kind of cobbled it together for the last, 5 years. But the more tar you add, the question is how long will it hold up? So the project in front of us would be a mill and overlay of Mount Pleasant Street. I think we recently did this road about 20 years ago. So this project would essentially redo the current width from curb to curb of new asphalt. The difference, similar to what we have accomplished on the remaining portions of Mount Pleasant Street, would be to convert it from a 4-lane road to a 3-lane road. So one lane of travel each direction with a center turn lane. It would match the configuration west of Highway 61, but also match the configuration east of Curran as it kind of tapers. There will be some things that you have to do specifically at the highway crossing where there'll be some transition zones because there's currently 4 lanes each direction. So we're gonna have to go in there and restripe that to match. But we've been pretty successful at these 4-lane to 3-lane conversions. There's a massive safety factor when you do this. The 4-lane to 3-lane conversion can handle up to 12,000 cars a day. We're at about 6 in some of these cases. So the section west is actually busier than this section. So we have a programmed amount of 400,000 going towards this, with the rest being SCBG, which is 1.4 million. So unless there's major concerns with the 4-lane to 3-lane conversion, I will get you an updated map for next week.
Makes sense to me.
I don't like 3-lane, but it's 3 lanes on both ends of it, so it only
Yeah.
makes sense to continue it that way.
I think it does help with speed some. Having had my kid run some races right there at the YMCA, people feel like they can race each other when they're on those 4 lanes. It happens on any of our 4 lanes in town, Division Street. They try and get around you and just go.
Something about the human nature.
It is. It's a competition thing. But there's quite a bit of statistical data that show that the 4-lane to 3-lane conversions help reduce total crash data. They reduce conflict points. Specifically, they reduce the head-on, 2 lanes of travel that right up to each other, the head-on issues. So not everybody likes them because they don't want to get stuck behind. I don't want to be
Someone
offensive.
going the speed
Thank you
limit.
for answering that question without being offensive. So,
I've had people pass me in the center lane on Agency when I was going the speed limit,
Yeah.
which just infuriates.
I'm sure, illegal.
Sorry about that, but McDonald's is about to close for breakfast. Anyway,
So if there's any concerns or questions on that, I can try and address them. Otherwise, I'll get you a nice, pretty map for next week.
What I don't understand, Nick, is like on Agency, you have to get over to stop at the light and then get over again to proceed through the light. What is that?
We're at on Agency.
Oh, gosh, you would ask me that. It's closer to,
Well, the lane configuration changes.
I drive that all the time. I don't have a problem with it. But
So
what am I doing?
we do go from 3-lane, well, we really go from 2-lane as it changes from Washington to Agency Street. And then we go to 3-lane between Curran and whatever that road name is, Hy-Vee Gas. And then we switch to 5-lane and the reason why is because of the amount of traffic volume that road sees. That's the busiest corridor in town, other than the highway itself, Highway 61.
I know West Burlington has one too, and by the mall there. And you get over to stop and then you get over again. It's just weird. I'm an old driver. It bugs me.
Habits?
Yeah, habits.
Any other thoughts or concerns for Nick on
On
this?
that first picture that you had up of the condition of Mount Pleasant Street,
That's ugly.
I was online looking for some vacation information, and there was a gentleman that had posted, whatever you call it, online, that was from Australia, that was looking for places in the United States to visit. And all of them that he had, they said, this is a perfect place to go, I like going here, like this. But what they showed for Burlington, Iowa, was the city center sign at the old Fairway Center and in Mount Pleasant Street in a lot of detail. And he had made the comment, this is not one of the places I would like to visit. I thought, the worst possible pictures you could take.
Yeah. So the crazy thing about Mount Pleasant Street, though, is the ride on the road is actually in fairly good shape. I mean, our staff has spent an incredible amount of time on that roadway on an annual basis, just pouring tar to keep the road together. So, I mean, it won't take much if you get some water in there and start popping potholes. I think the whole road would go. But, you know, this is the old highway. One of the things I think we're going to attempt to do that we did on Johansson, it's actually turned out remarkable, is some crack and seat. So you'll go through and reset the base, and you don't see any of the reflective cracks. It's, you know, the mat functions so much better when it's asphalt. So I think some of it, I think it's mixed through there on what the underlying surface is.
I think we all drive on it, but until you see the photo that way, you don't realize it, right? So,
Right.
let's get it
because
done.
it's-
We should have a guessing game on how many
not
gallons
like
of tar is dumped into the roadway. I don't know if we would even know the right answer.
I agree. It feels like a pretty smooth ride. When you look at that, you would never guess it.
We all good? Okay, good. Number 5 is resolution approving agreement with BRE, Burlington Riverfront Entertainment. Mr. Burt, thank you, guys.
So I'll do the same thing here, and I do have a couple of slides. Eric, would you mind, I think I have 4 slides, maybe they're in the packet, maybe just kind of run through those. But I'll walk through the council background item and interject as we go. So the city is currently in an agreement with Burlington Riverfront Entertainment. It actually runs through, it's based on a calendar year. So it runs through December of 2026. In conversations with Matt Brown, who's here, and he can certainly engage in the conversation whenever you want to, Matt. Or maybe the council will have questions for Matt, or vice versa later. Yep. Matt approached me a while ago with interest in looking at the extension of the agreement beyond 2026, if that was going to be something the council would consider, because he starts looking at events into 27 and in some cases into calendar 28 already. And so it becomes difficult for them to start booking events and shows without an agreement beyond December 2026. So Matt and I have been working on some language to the agreement for a couple of months. And it's time now, I think we've gotten to a point where we're ready to present some ideas to the council to get this done, and so that's what you have in front of you. Again, there's a few slides in here, but just to kind of walk through the council background item with some of the key points after looking at the current term that we're in. The term and renewal adjustments to the agreement term to align to a fiscal year. That works better for both organizations. So a new contract term, we would propose 6 years. And so that would be from July 1, 26 through June 30, 2032. Fiscal years, again, align better to both organizations in terms of how we handle our fiscal affairs. And there's language in the proposed agreement that would basically rescind or repeal any current agreements. So the last 6 months of the current agreement would just simply be voided or rescinded in favor of the new agreement, should that be approved and we move forward. It establishes automatic 3-year renewals. That's consistent with what we currently have as far as renewals. We did consider and put in a recommendation to extend the opt-out notification to either party of 12 months. Again, just owing to some of the timelines and event structures that we're looking at. I think the old agreement had either 30 or 60 days. That's really not appropriate for either party, really, if one was going to pull out in 30 or 60 days. So 12-month notice. Financial modifications, the city's subsidy of $175,000 would remain. Right now, that's been kind of a stair step down over the last 6 years. The recommendation is that it would fix at 175 for all 6 years of the proposed agreement, so it would remain flat. And then there would be no reimbursements back of revenue or event sharing from BRE to the city. That would be eliminated or removed. And then if there would be any naming rights of facilities, the city would receive 10% share of whatever those might be.
Explain what that means.
Well, let's say in a perfect world that they find a corporate sponsor to put their name on the side of the building or something like that, or it's, I don't know, Billups Tire Arena or something like that, right? So whatever deal that might be, the city would receive 10% of that, for example.
And in the current, sorry, Tim, in the current agreement, I believe it's a 90-10 or an 80-20 as well. We just made sure to spell it out in this one too, since we're taking away the rest of the revenue share in it.
The Bracewell Stadium put up a sign that for events, and then they have kind of rotating sponsors on the top that they pay for advertising. Now, I mentioned I'm a fan of seeing some kind of marquee on the outside of the building.
Right.
That may be an option, but I was wondering if that's the type of thing that, if there was a revenue generated from a sign that was sponsored by someone like that, if that would be the same type of.
So this doesn't get into a lot of detail. It just says naming rights. And so I would think that we would have conversations with BRE if something like that were to generate. Right now, we don't even have that billboard or marquee outside. And so if there were a title sponsor for that, and that's a fixture or an addition to the building, there probably should be some conversation about revenue sharing there. I think what it would preclude is if there were, well, and sometimes you do have sponsors for events and shows, it doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
It means more permanent ownership or sponsorship of a piece of the building, if you will, right? Something physical.
To go with Chad's example, the John Billups Auditorium for a 5-year deal, that would be the 10% share to the city.
What would you be willing to give for that?
Yeah, I don't want to just keep bringing it up.
I got a spare $50.
Hey.
Because you guys do sponsorships now
Yeah.
inside of the, and
Yep.
that's something you ought to retain. But if we get to that point where we're back to a lighted sign, then we could
Right.
amend this, right, if we needed.
Yeah.
I was here when we started this. It was stair step down, and we thought we'd get to about the 175 mark, and then we check and see where it's at. Comparing to what we were getting before, and we were paying almost 500 grand. And now I go down there every time you have an event, and I see parking lots full with cars from all over the area. I couldn't be more pleased. So I'm really thankful to work this out on a long term.
Operations and oversight is the other item that I have mentioned in the council background. BRE retains the exclusive rights to manage, promote, and staff events, riverfront properties. So we did kind of redefine riverfront properties to also include the riverfront. Current agreement is the port, the auditorium, to a lesser extent the depot. We've kind of pulled back from that a little bit just because it's hard to rent that space because it's always open to the public. That's not to say BRE wouldn't step in and help us out if somebody came forward and wanted to do something there. But for example, just over a year ago or so, they pulled their liquor license for that space. It was costing them money that they were not recouping just because nobody wanted to rent it. But we did add the riverfront because that's now a usable space. BRE does see from time to time requests to use the gazebo or the green space for a wedding or wedding reception. We did put some parameters in place in the agreement to still allow the Parks Department to have some control over that space, or if BRE does come forward with a wedding for the little shelter gazebo, that we still require a special event permit, as is our practice for other public spaces. So there's still a way for city departments to still kind of be engaged, but we would look to some partnership or some direction for BRE to be able to use that space too. We're seeing more and more requests for it, which I think is great because it owes to the improvements that we've made there over the last couple of years. People see it as an attractive space. We need to start developing some kind of structure or framework for how we manage this space. There is some language in there owing to, let's say there is a wedding that wants to use that gazebo, understanding that they would need to fill out a special event permit application. They would have the ability to use that shelter, but it's not exclusive for the entire riverfront. So if somebody was still down there and had a family picnic or wanted to use the splash pad, they would still have some abilities to do some of those things too. So we tried to define some of that. We tried to clarify and define some of the event security with the police department, and then just look at, again, just kind of clarifying some of our long-term tenants, like the Welcome Center in the port, Amtrak in the depot, et cetera, just giving a nod that those things still happen as well. I think those are some of the key elements. Again, I've got a couple of slides. I don't know that they touch on anything that I haven't talked about. Legacy events, we've kind of redefined that a little bit. We've kind of removed the term legacy. There's still an exhibit that notes some of the things that have always happened there, like Snow Bowl, Great River Bridge Race, et cetera. They're still acknowledged, but some of the relationship there in terms of acknowledging a legacy, we're starting to kind of phase that out. Some of these legacy events don't even happen down there anymore, I think. They've kind of moved on.
It was like half of that list that haven't occurred since like 2019.
Right, so we've kind of redefined that a little bit. I talked about the revenue sharing being removed. Councilman Scott had asked me a few days ago, a week or so ago, for kind of an overview of actual full auditorium expenses. That's in the council packet as well under the council item. At the top of that list, section or account number 519, other professional services, that's the amount that we pay for this agreement to BRE. And so you can see where that was in 2023, and then stair step down to the 175 that it is today. And then all the other costs that go into just the facility management and maintenance, electrical and water, property insurance, et cetera, et cetera. So from 2023 to the fiscal 26 adopted, it's actually only increased by about $4,000 all in for all of those things associated with the auditorium, including BRE.
There's no other additional cost for the auditorium.
Not that I'm aware of. I might ask
Unless you have
Stephanie or
repairs.
Nick. I mean, there could be some other things, and even some of this. So, for example, maybe if we do some snow removal or trash collection for the riverfront, some allocations might go to one building or another, but it's for the entire area, right?
I'll look again, but it seems to me that the auditorium line item budget was $435,000.
I pulled this right from this year's budget book, so again, unless I'm missing something.
Did that maybe have like the port and other things factored in too? The
Yeah,
number you saw, Tim?
Say
Again,
again.
so.
Did it maybe have the port factored in there too?
Can you guys think of anything
possibly?
else that's,
Port of the depot.
that I'm missing?
Because I know if property maintenance plows the riverfront, it gets billed to one of the buildings, and that's
Yeah.
considered a building cost or things like that.
Well, we can double check that. You know, when you and I had the conversation, I just went to the budget book and I pulled that out and put this in here, but I had not consulted with Stephanie or
Yeah.
Nick, and I'll do that before Monday. Okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Or just call me and
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think I have anything else to add on that. Matt, if there's anything that I may have
I
overlooked?
say just from the BRE side, this current agreement that we're in, I look back, we signed it March 2nd, 2020, thinking everything was going to go great, and then of course, 10 days later, the world exploded. So we figured, we'll stair step that subsidy down and do the payback and be fine, and obviously inflation has skyrocketed. We can still operate at that 175, but the one that's going to really save us is eliminating that payback. I mean, it's been 12, 14,000-ish a year, and that saves us from having to raise the subsidy or request the subsidy being raised, essentially just to be able to operate. So that's the big change for us, that it really means a lot to keeping us functioning the way we have been.
We'll vote on Monday. If there are any other thoughts or concerns?
Can I just ask while
Yeah.
you're here, on your ice skating program, is that going to happen this year? Or
We are not doing it this January. Our final payment for all that to the city is this June. I actually just got that clarified today. We're not doing it this January. We have 2 events that candidly we're going to make more money on doing those than we would the ice rink. And so if anybody needs an ice rink, we will have one for sale here shortly.
that was going to be my suggestion. If it
Yep.
wasn't going to happen,
Yep.
that would,
Again, I think the Mayor Billups Memorial Ice Skating Rink somewhere. It'd be incredible.
We appreciate your
skating
support.
rink?
Hey, I went down there. I skated there a few times. It's a little bit more of a workout than doing it on ice, though.
I watched the falls on the camera.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Do we have anything else for Matt? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
We'll move on to proposed consent agenda for December
Ma-
15th.
Mayor, if I may interject, I'm sorry. I have one item to add to proposed regular.
Yep.
It's not on here, but it's something that came up just in the last few days. Tim Myatt, our director of the wastewater treatment facility, is needing to replace the pickup that was damaged in the accident this fall. And so he has gathered the state bid and also has now the insurance reimbursement for that vehicle. And so he does have a proposal to bring that forward to purchase to replace. So that would be an add, and he's here to explain that.
You want to take us through it?
Yeah, the amount that would offset the total cost of the replacement would be from the insurance settlement check amounting to $22,332.22. The state bid price was actually more than our local Schottenkirk, so we'll be hopefully purchasing from them. And with the sewer fund balance of $24,304.50 to purchase that, to replace this vehicle that we really need.
What was the age of the old truck? Just, do you remember?
I can't, it might have been 2016.
Okay. So it's going to be slated for replacement at some point anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it was still a decent truck though, so
Yeah.
I feel like I might be wrong about the 2016 guess. But that's all I have.
Okay,
So we'll have items in the packet for Monday, if that's all right.
sounds good.
We need the truck.
Yeah.
Okay. Now am I ready to proceed with the consent? sir?
Yes, sorry.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's all right. Proposed consent agenda for December 15th. First is resolution for approving nuisance abatements for various properties. 3-page list there. Does anyone in council have any thoughts or concerns on that?
I was just surprised to see that many this time
Yeah,
of year.
well, still, there's a lot of billing for weeds and grass too,
Yep.
so.
This is probably October, right?
Number 2 will be a resolution amending the fees and charge schedule at Flint Hills Municipal Golf Course. Flint Hills Golf Course Advisory Committee voted 4-0 in favor. Mr. Tislin.
Yeah, something we review annually, around this time each year, looking at other courses, looking at our, course and usage as well as how do we, try and balance our budget as best we can. So Brad did bring this to the, advisory committee. They did review it and did, recommend approval of it. It's about a 3% increase, trying to get round numbers there, especially for the cash transactions of the daily rates. But overall, between $10 and $20 increase on the season passes and about $1 increase for the daily rates. And then a couple notes there. They did, other courses have done as well. The season passes are valid from April 1st to October 31st, and then be a $10 fee past that October 31st if you're a season pass holder. We kind of see the diminishing returns. Some days we might make $100 or a couple $100 staying open just to pay staff when you have 2 or 3 pass holders come through, and that's about it. So trying to, want people to play as long as they can, but also make sure we're being efficient in our staff time.
Any thoughts or concerns, council? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Number 3 is a resolution approving the side agreement between CWA Local 7176, City of Burlington, and City of Burlington, I'm sorry. Mr. Byrd?
So I will cover this one. Chief can certainly chime in if there's something I'm leaving out. But basically, we have two clear items that we're asking the union and the city to develop a side agreement for. One is a wage step advancement to recognize total years of service for 2 officers, moving them to the next step on January 1, 2026. The other is increasing our current hiring incentive for certified officers, those that might be currently certified elsewhere. Any newly hired certified police officer in good standing, holding state of Iowa certification or recognized out-of-state equivalency will be eligible for a sign-on bonus of up to $15,000, distributed as follows. Half paid at the time of hiring, half paid upon successful completion of the officer's first year of service with Burlington PD. There's 2 other items, item number 3 and item number 4, that are kind of clarifying in terms of seniority and lateral transfers. And this has been approved by the bargaining unit. I would also further add that we are in negotiations with this bargaining unit, and we're looking at getting these terms and conditions into the new agreement. So we don't have these side agreements if we can avoid it, so. Chief, anything else you might want to add, or? Okay.
Chad, on that $15,000 signing bonus, is there no time limit that is expected for them to stay with the department after the first year?
No. Currently, we have, it's $8,500, I believe. And as we've talked, so this is going to drive directly to one of our goals, which is recruitment and retention. And not that we have to do what everybody else does, but we're kind of chasing what everybody else does, right? So,
I don't have a problem with the 15,000. I want to see us get some officers.
yeah.
I would think a little bit of a commitment would go a long way for me. I mean, when we, everything else that we do require any truck driver training and CDL licensing. They're expected to work a certain period of time or have to pay a portion of that back.
Well, I think that's kind of the thought process behind dividing it up as well, right? So they don't get it all up front and then
half a hire and
half
half
and
after a
half,
year.
yeah.
All right.
Okay. Number 4, resolution approving an agreement between the City of Burlington and the Iowa Department of Natural Resources for amendment number 5 to the administrative consent order to be adopted as order number 207-WW-22-A5. Hi, Nick.
Hello. This resolution would make an amendment to our current consent order, which expires at the end of the month. Cutting this one awfully close. Staff has been in conversation with the permitting staff at the Iowa DNR for the last, I'd say, year, developing a plan and an amendment to the consent order that tells us that we need to separate our sanitary and storm sewers. So I just wanted to bring a map up to relay what the order actually talks about. The Hawkeye and Cascade and then Locust Basin, which the Locust Basin is a sub-basin within Mazel or Market Angular South Locust. And so those are all separated basins. We have the South Angular and Market Basin that need to be separated. The consent order directly highlights the South Basin over the next, I would say, 5 to 10 years. The Angular and Market Basin are significantly more difficult than the South Basin, just because of the geographical layout and then the density of the homes that are built in that area. So this is a good thing. A 15-year extension on our consent order gives us some breathing room, some relief from this pending doom of having to have our sewers separated. Obviously, kicking the can down the road does not save us dollars from a total, $100 million in liability, but it does allow us to kind of get our bearings and be compliant with the DNR. So I don't know if you need any more explanation, then this has been something we've been working on, and it's a good thing, so.
Yeah, I don't think you could classify what you've been doing as kicking the can. You guys have been active in working on it, so it's just a matter of getting a reasonable date,
Yep.
extension date. And we'll probably likelihood ask for another one down the road.
Correct. As we get into the Angular and Market separation, there's significantly more money and work that needs to be done there, involving some lift stations or, deep type tunneling type work. So we're already kind of heading in the right direction with South Basin. You have some sewer separation going on right now. Well, we'll update you more frequently than maybe what we had. We were kind of in this no man's land of not knowing where we were going with the consent order and the DNR and what we were needing to prepare for plan sets and work. So we
Outstanding.
have a little bit more direction.
Okay,
And
council, we all right?
I was going to say, the longer we wait, the more it costs, so it helps.
There is an inflationary factor to it. However, what is the ability for the ratepayers to pay? So if you tell them over the next 5 years you have $100 million in liability, that utility bill is unpayable. And if we at least extend the work over a 15-year, 20, 30-year window, you will pay more money for construction, but the ratepayer is actually able to potentially make that payment.
Right.
On the south project, are they gonna continue to work on that through the winter, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. They need to probably button things up for the winter, in my opinion.
They just dropped off some catch basins and some.
Doesn't look like it then, does it?
Doesn't look like it, no.
I'll have to talk with staff and see where we're at. We need to have some clarity one way or the other. I mean, we've already got a couple issues going on, but.
I've had a lot of neighbors asking me, and there's a couple neighbors can't get to their homes.
Yeah, we need to remedy that. The contractor does rather.
Will you give us an update on that Monday?
I
Your
will.
best, as best you can.
Yep.
Ouch, okay, thank you. Cramp, sorry. Next up, a resolution approving reappointments to the Burlington Homelessness Task Force. Mr. Berg.
You have three reappointments, Megan Brinks, Bob Bartles, and Jeffrey Knotts. We put these on a resolution as the task force is a little different animal than your regular boards and commissions. So I think last cycle you saw some new appointments. These are reappointments.
Okay, outstanding individuals, so I'm excited about that. And that ends, we reached the end of our agenda. Future discussion items, we'll have Chris Graham from Tourism Reports, January 12th. And then Sarah Sandberg, Airport Annual Report on January 26th. We'll go around and get department heads. Eric, anything for development? No? Chief Schaefer, Burlington PD.
We are officially accepting applications for our Citizens Academy, which begins February 17th. It runs Tuesday nights, 6:30 to 9:30. You can apply either via the city's website or on our social media page. We accept between 20 and 25 participants, so we're looking to get that started. Also, it's the season. This Saturday at Black Hawk School, we'll be doing Shop with a Cop. So you'll see a large presence of law enforcement from around the area out there. Then there'll be a procession or a parade from Black Hawk out to the Walmart. So nothing bad taking place. We're just celebrating and having a good time with the kids. it's a great event, and it's a good time to spend some time with some third graders, so.
Sounds good.
Thank
If you
you.
could make sure you do a couple public announcements before the event, it would save
Yes.
us all a lot of phone calls. Thank you, Chief. Chief Toops, anything from fire department tonight? No? Okay. Ken, anything from Waterworks? It looks like you're dinged up there. Sorry to see that. Tim, anything else from wastewater? Brittany from the library? No. Steph from finance? No. Nick, Public Works? Nothing. Mr. Byrd?
Let's go.
All right. Council? Tim, anything?
No.
Kay, anything?
No, sir.
Linda?
Can't break the trend.
All right, let's get out of here. Thank you, everyone.